Hi, everyone. This is Lawrence Watkins, and welcome to the Financial Juneteenth 5. These are my five most interesting articles as it relates to Black wealth, finance, and business for today, October 12th, 2020. Let's go ahead and get started. All right. So the first article today comes from Fast Company, and it states Killer Mike's new digital bank aims to build wealth in Black and Latinx communities. So it states named after the historic neighborhood in Tulsa that was once dubbed Black Wall Street, Greenwood's mission is to provide equitable financial services. And this is a partnership between Michael Render, who is also known as Killer Mike, I believe Andrew Young as well. Yes, here we go. Co-founded alongside Andrew Young and civil rights activist, and Ryan Glover, the founder and president of Bounce TV. So it says Greenwood's mission is to give equitable financial services to Black and Latinx communities while also giving back with charitable initiatives. Here's a quote from Render, so Killer Mike. It states, I am a product of Black banking. There's never been a time in my life I did not have a Black bank account. I've been very open and forthcoming in telling people keep your major account, especially if you travel and that makes you comfortable. But make sure you have a secondary, if not your primary account, is at a Black financial institution because it strengthens those institutions. Those institutions will be there for us. Later on in the article, it talks about some of the inequities in terms of Black banking. So, of course, that's been a major topic within, I guess, political circles and business circles. So, this article referenced a report by the New America think tank that found that banks charge communities of colors more for opening basic checking accounts, and racial biases from banking or bank tellers lead to discretionary charges. A 2016 study found that Black mortgage applicants were denied at more than twice the rate of white applicants, and all four major banking institutions, JP Morgan Chase, Wells Fargo, Citigroup, and Bank of America, have settled recent lawsuits involving everything from predatory lending to redlining. It's also important to note that Greenwood Bank, so this new bank initiative, is a neobank, which means that it's a digital-only financial institution. At launch, it will offer savings and spending accounts, debit cards, Apple to Android Pay, peer-to-peer money transfer, mobile deposits, and ATM accessibility with no hidden fees. No hidden fees. They're not doing loans yet. The article states so. Currently, Greenwood isn't offering loans, but Reese Giddens, its president and CTO, says it's definitely on the company roadmap. So a shout out to Killer Mike, Ambassador Young, and also Ryan Glover for getting this initiative started. The next article comes from CNN, and it states Facebook launches Buy Black Friday campaign to support Black-owned businesses. So it states Facebook is launching a 3-month season of support initiative for small businesses, starting with a campaign to highlight Black-owned businesses, which are closing twice as fast as others during the pandemic. It's called Buy Black Friday, and its initiative includes the initiative includes toolkits and other resources for Black-owned businesses. Our new Facebook app features encouraging people to share posts supporting these businesses, as well as weekly Friday show featuring owners, entertainers, and musical artists. The campaign is going to run from October 30th to November 27th. The retail industry's Black Friday. So I guess it runs up until November 27th, which is Black Friday this year. Facebook will spotlight a Black-owned entrepreneur on the live Buy Black Friday show each week. And the company is also offering events and resources through its app and a Lift Black Voices hub. I believe later in the article, it mentioned they're going to be partnering and working closely with the U.S. Black Chambers of Commerce. So it states here, we'll be working closely with the U.S. Black Chambers of Commerce, an influential network of Black entrepreneurs to encourage people to buy Black over the holidays. And this is Sheryl Sandberg in this case, who's the chief operating officer of Facebook. And we are confident that millions of people will want to join in. So yeah, that's a new Facebook initiative. I don't see in the article any way that you can apply to actually be one of the business featured, but maybe that is actually in her blog post, but I'm not exactly sure about that. So check out the Buy Black Friday campaign by Facebook. The next article comes from the New York Times today, and it talks about so it says that their bosses asked them to lead diversity reviews. Guess why? And of course, the reason why is because they were black. And it says when corporations try to belatedly address issues of diversity, equity, and inclusion, they often drop the responsibility on their few Black employees. So this article talked about some of the emotional toll that brings forth. The article opens up with a little story about Deanna Jean, who works in sales, but she kept getting or requests on LinkedIn about leading up some diversity inclusion work, but she was definitely not qualified to actually lead that work. And when she told them that, but then asked the person who was reaching out to her if they had anything related to sales, which is what she's trained in, they she got crickets and no one actually ever responded. So it said on one side they're looking at me as a black woman, which means I'm automatically equipped to deliver diversity, equity, and inclusion. But then on the other side, that is only the only thing that you see me to be able to do. For many Black professionals, the experience of being asked or even required to lead or participate in a company's diversity and inclusion work simply because of their race is an uncomfortable ritual. So the article talks a little bit more about that and what they're doing to not necessarily combat it, but bring it to the forefront. So this quote was interesting as well. It says, "For years, diversity, equity, and inclusion issues have often been treated as a sideline or an add-on in corporate America. During the first 2 months of the coronavirus pandemic, DEI-related job offerings declined at twice the rate as overall job postings, according to a report in mid-July from Glassdoor." So it wasn't really until everything started happening in this country in terms of George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery and others that they even started paying attention to this. So there's a lot of media and a lot of attention surrounding this issue of diversity and equity in corporate America. But as early as this year, it wasn't actually something that these corporations actually cared about. So I thought this was an interesting article. To read this, you might be experiencing the similar type of thing, but I thought this was an interesting article from the New York Times today. The next article comes from the Atlantic. So it says the Black church's exodus, or excuse me, the church's Black exodus. Pastors' silence on racism and COVID-19 is driving Black parishioners away from their congregation. So this quote says, "Many Black parishioners, especially those at multiracial institutions, bristle when they hear rhetoric from church leaders that ignores how health inequities and racism are affecting the Black community right now. Others are hurt by their church's conspicuous silence on these issues. The result is a quiet but resolute contingent of Black church members leaving their congregation to seek spiritual healing elsewhere." And the article talked about just how some pastors have been guilting or I guess shaming, those who aren't coming to church in person. It gives the story of Delisha, who's in New Orleans and who was doing a virtual session. And basically, the pastor was deriding them or deriding the people who weren't there in person. But she's like, I have pre-existing health conditions and I live with a daughter with asthma and a few other different things. How dare you say that, I'm not a woman of God just because I'm not coming to your church on this particular day. So it's not uncommon for people of color who attend multiracial churches to hear very little about racism. That's what David Swanson, the founding pastor of New Community Covenant Church in Chicago, mentioned. He had an interesting tweet a little earlier this year. He says, "A multiracial church which never confronts white supremacy is a white church." By that, he meant it's a church still mostly interested in white people's comfort. So this is an interesting article talking about just religion, the intersection of religion, actually business too, and what's going on in America right now with COVID and racial inequities and everything that's going on. So check this out as well in the Atlantic from a little earlier, either today or this month, I can't remember. Oh, yesterday. So it was posted yesterday. The last article today it's a podcast and it comes from Gallup. So they're the the creators of the Strength Finders test. So this is a podcast that talks about building ecosystems that support entrepreneurs of color. And the guest is Dale Gines. John, I'm not sure if it's Gines or Gines, but he's the senior executive of the Federal Reserve of Kansas City, branch in Omaha, Nebraska. But he's talking a lot about creating these ecosystems for Black entrepreneurs, and he talks everything about human capital to financial capital to social capital to cultural capital and many other things. I found it to be very interesting as it's a topic and something that I strive to build, and we strive to build with the Financial Juneteenth platform as well as the Black Business School in regards to creating these ecosystems for Black entrepreneurs and Black business people. So I'm looking forward. I've already dug into the podcast once. I'll go back and listen to it one more time. But I thought this was very informative and insightful. So please check that out. And all of these links will be in the description of this particular YouTube episode. And yeah, check them out whenever you have a moment. So that's about it for the Financial Juneteenth 5 today. So let me know what you all thought about these 5 different stories. Let me know if this is a segment that you would like to see us to continue on the Financial Juneteenth network. And please, before you get out of here, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe to the Financial Juneteenth channel if you would like to receive more financial content like the content that we deliver today. So on behalf of Financial Juneteenth, my name is Lawrence Watkins.